Welcome to the Bayou City Soccer Podcast. Whether inside or outside the loop, we are talking everything soccer in Houston. Y'all ready? Let's get it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Crossing Soccer Borders podcast. I'm joined here with Rudy Segura
What's up, man? How you guys doing?
and Emmanuel Oliveras.
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
And I'm your host, Joe Chabala. This is a podcast different from the normal Bayou City Soccer podcast. Normally, we just talk about the Houston Dynamo, but today we're branching out, talking a little more about the CONCACAF national teams and just the global game in itself. And just today, this morning, we had dropped the USMNT roster for the January camp. We'll talk about that. Playing a game against Slovenia on January 20th. Let's talk about the roster. Just in general, let's get your guys' thoughts on the roster as a whole. Like, Manny, when you saw the roster, what was your initial thoughts?
Of course, I think when you think of the USMNT national team, you think of most of the January camp is non-FIFA window, so you will look more of MLS players. I think everyone will look into more what players from the Columbus Crew, as their MLS Cup winners and I think the one that I think no one's talking about, but I think for me it's Patrick Shoot. I think for a player that came last year from MLS Next Pro to winning MLS Cup and now jumping into the national team, I think within a short amount of time that he has been in the in the MLS program, that's just transition is just a huge step for I think just for US soccer as a whole. I think no one's talking about that. I think everyone's talking about little minor stuff, why Shaq Moore is on it, but I think I'll leave that to Joey on a different earlier. But I think for me that Patrick Shoot, I think having him on the roster is just huge.
Rudy, you're a bit of a Mexico fan, so maybe you're a little out of your wheelhouse. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, of course, there's some names that, being honest, even watching the MLS, and then don't necessarily ring a bell, but just seeing, how many fresh legs that brought in, right? About 18, I counted 18 players have 0 caps with the team, with the national team. So, just getting their feet wet into what is the international play. Like Manny said, a goalkeeper that came out of, MLS Next Pro, that's a big deal because obviously that's something that they're trying to push. This guy ends up going into the Columbus Crew, ends up winning a championship, and now U.S., national team. So it's pretty crazy. Obviously, he hasn't capped for them yet, but just getting that opportunity to make it into the camp, it's pretty interesting, man.
Yeah, let's start with the goalkeepers. So into this camp, we have Drake Callender, Roman Celentano, and Patrick Schulte. None of these three have caps for the team. Callender and Celentano have been on a bunch of rosters so far, but they've always been the third or second choice goalkeeper. None of them have played yet. So, I mean, what are your guys' thoughts? Who's the starter?
I think it will be Drake Callender. I think because I think with the last international window, he left because Miami had a game during midweek, so he left camp early and came back to camp. So out of all the three goalkeepers, he is the one that's quote unquote has the most experience being already in camp, but hasn't played yet. Of course, he has players that he's trained with in Miami with Messi, Busquets, and Alba. So he has more high-ranking players. But I will like him. That if it's still a friendly, have more subs, but I would rather see Patrick Shoot in the goalkeeper. Just me personally, because he's younger. I want to see what he is in the international games, but if Greg Berhalter had to choose one game and he has to win, Drake Callender will going to start ahead of him.
So you got Callender. I'm actually thinking Roman Celentano. I think what Celentano has just done for Cincinnati this year has just been huge. We all know how good of a player he is, and then to see him go and finally win a trophy with the Supporters Shield and then play really well in the playoffs as well. I think he's a great goalkeeper. I actually see a lot of potential with him. I think that was one of the best draft picks we've seen in recent years. So I'm all in on Celentano, but yeah, I agree. Drake Callender probably might get the start, knowing what Greg does. What are your thoughts, Rudy?
Yeah, no, and just overall, how rich, man, is the goalkeeping group? It just apart from the guys that they picked right now, this three that obviously are very talented players in the MLS, but then you look back at the depth chart just in general, and you have obviously like Matt Turner, Ether Harba, Slovenia, Johnson, Cohen, who's in the MLS now with Atlanta, Zach Steffen, who's also back with Colorado
Mhm.
Rapids. It's just pretty crazy. And yeah, if you're picking a starter, I'm kind of with you. I think Celentano would probably be the guy that I would start just because he was really, really solid for Cincinnati. Not that the other guys weren't, right? Obviously, one got Schultz wins a MLS Cup. Calendar. Everybody thinks of Miami being purely messy, but God, Calendar put some great performance. What saving a goal and taking a penalty to win it as well in a couple games too. So pretty incredible stuff.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Calendar. Which out of these three guys, who do you think really challenges the full national team's roster? I think really only Celentano maybe, but what do you guys think?
I I think US has an interesting point in their history. I think when you think of US soccer history, they're always rich in goalkeepers. There's always a goalkeepers that even not now, but maybe later will become a fundamental piece. And right now, I think with goalkeepers, it's just whoever's hot at the moment,
Mhm.
and you never know which of these players will move on to either Europe or stay in MLS. But the point is, which of them will stay hot? And I think out of we're talking about almost 6 to 7 goalkeepers right now that's in contention. But uh, I would say at the moment, if you're looking at youth, okay, Patrick. But if you're looking at form right now, out of the two right now, I think Salentano is going to get it. But if you're doing the other third factor, which is Greg Ball Alter, he's going to go with Drake Calendar. So many
Yeah.
variations. So there's so many things. What's the upside?
Mhm.
But I if just for statistics and how they play, Roman Solitano is
Well,
gonna take it.
out of these guys right here, Joey, obviously we got the Copa America coming up in the
Mhm.
summer, but beyond that, out of this three, who you think makes the World Cup?
Makes
If
the World
there's
Cup.
if there's one of these three,
Ooh.
I mean, it's what 2.5 years from now, basically.
I
So
don't think any of them make the World Cup.
you don't think none of them make the World Cup?
I
Interesting.
think we see probably Turner, Slanina, and then Zach Steffen,
But yeah, that's what I'm
maybe.
saying. It's gonna be interesting,
I mean, yeah, probably be if it's not Zach Steffen, because I'm sure he'll find some form again coming back to MLS.
right?
If it's not him, it probably will be one of these three. Or Cohen, maybe, or even Sean Johnson if
Right.
they want to just bring the
It's gonna be
experience.
interesting for sure,
I
man,
like
for
Sean. I mean,
sure.
Sean Johnson probably shouldn't be on the team anymore, but then again, it's the third choice goalkeeper. They might want to just bring the locker room guy with Johnson. So who knows what they do?
I think this year is going to be a good year for the goalkeepers because you have the 24 Olympic Games and then you have Copa America. So you have two competitions with two different age groups to see which ones goalkeepers are going to shine and maybe make that jump into a new level to get more eyes on
Mm-hmm.
them.
And we go into the defenders as well. Lots of new defenders. Here's the guys that have yet to play for the program. It's Nathan Harriel from the Union, Ian Murphy from Cincy, Jackson Reagan, uh, Kosi Tafari. I believe that's how you say his name. And that's all like the new debutants for the defenders. And alongside that, you have Caleb Wiley, John Tolkien as the left backs, Dwan Jones, who could play either fullback spot, and then James Sands and Shaq Moore and Miles Robinson, who just signed for Cincinnati. So I think it's a good crop of defenders. I look at the center backs. I think this is a pretty strong center back group. I'm a big fan of Jackson Reagan. I think that guy absolutely deserves a spot on the national team for this camp. And I don't know if he's someone who could challenge going further. I don't could because he maybe isn't a guy with a really high ceiling, but man, did he have a really good year not Cincinnati, Seattle this year. What are your thoughts on the center back group, Manny?
He's a tall dude too, man. You're getting a 6'6" defender that can move. That's a game changer, to be honest, as well. So that could be a possibility, just physically for him to make a team. Um, but Miles Robinson, you mentioned him. He just came into a brand new team with FC Cincinnati going into the next or the MLS season starting up soon. Um, yeah, I don't know. Some of the fullbacks, I love DeJuan Jones, really good. John Tolkien, hell of a player. Um, when, but of course, there's gonna be question marks, just because there's some guys that are probably hotter than others that didn't get a call or even a chance yet. Doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean that they're out of competition. There's gonna be obviously other camps and other games before the true competitions, but. Out of the guys here, Tafari, man, obviously FC Dallas guy, he's played very good. He's a very confident player. At 26 years old, it's probably his last chance to kind of make a good impression.
Hmm.
If he wants to see more action. So that's an interesting one that because the guy's pretty versatile.
Yeah, Tafari is a really good player. But other than those, then Jackson Reagan, the next guy that really just catches my eye on this list is John Tolkien. I really, really, really rate John Tolkien. I think he's just a phenomenal fullback, and we saw in the playoffs this year the way he was able to score goals and carry the Red Bulls through a playoff round and get them to the playoffs. I think he's just a phenomenal player. What do you think, Manny?
I think many people, I think we're looking for like a youth center, like a youth defender positions. I think people criticize why Shaq more. I think people will see like, oh, he could have got more younger, but I think, or even like James Sands, but I think Greg Berhalter picked a good mixture of experience and with young people as well. I think like I'm actually trying to see how Caleb Wiley I like him when he was in the for the what was it the U20 World Cup. I liked him when he played in those positions. I think his game could be a lot better, but I think I'd like to see him more in the full national team a little bit more.
Ooh, I don't know
Uh,
about that.
I just want to see how he does. I think I think this is the moments that usually uh either make you realize what you need to do to make your game better. But I think as Joey just takes I think Jackson Reagan is like I think the number one, the one you're supposed to look at. And I think with him and Miles Robinson in the back, I think it's gonna be a good defense.
Yeah, what do you guys was your back line if you had to pick the lineup today?
I think DeJuan Jones, he's a right back, correct?
He plays either side.
Okay, so I'll put him as a right back, John Tolkien on the left, Miles Robinson, and probably Jackson Reagan as
Hmm.
the four. If we're playing with a four, with a line of four in the back. But I think fullback. I joked around, obviously we covered the Dynamo and seeing the hype that Griffin Dorsey has been, and it's not a hype. I mean, the guy's performed.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, he's slowly getting some eyes on him. And, at 24 years old, you would think that he would be given the opportunity just from the performance that he had, just at least to go to this camp. But kind of sad that he didn't. And obviously we see other guys that did. Um, but just imagine playing a Dorsey and Tolkien and as fullbacks, man,
Oof.
dude.
Or Wiley,
Yeah, I mean, and obviously you would play probably three in the back just because you don't want to get
you'd have to.
destroyed. Yeah, yeah. So, but I mean, those guys, and the reason Tolkien was he played exactly like Dorsey played in the sense of he was up and down the field, was able to find ways to score in different ways, and it just makes it a little bit interesting. Keeps the opponents on their toes, man.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
I go with the same with Rudy with the same lineup.
Same
I
lineup.
think if I think because I think it's almost you almost set you know Tolkien's go is gonna you want to see more of Tolkien. He's the one who's gonna you might transition from Anthony Robinson to Tolkien. Miles Robinson is still going to be a solid defender in any defense. It's only those two positions, the other center back and the right back, And right now, I think Jones can play either flank, and he's is a solid fullback. And I think the defense you want to see is Jackson Reagan. So there's no much choice because unless Berhalter wants to experiment, usually he doesn't change anything. He usually goes strictly for a four in the back. Rarely he does three. That's if it's been a while since we went three in the back, but it's a four in the back.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick a three. Oh, a back five. That's what I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna say, give me Nathan Harriel as the right wing back, and then I want to see a back three of James Sands, Miles Robinson, and Sean Zawadski. He's listed as a midfielder on this roster, but he's played as a wide center back for Columbus a bit, and he's been absolutely phenomenal in that position. So I'm going to go with that, and then I'll go John Tolkien as a left wing back.
Well, hell, you already jump into the midfield. Might as well start kicking the midfields around a little bit, man.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get midfielders. We got two Columbus guys. Sean Zawadski. He's plays defense. He plays midfield. He could play a little bit of everywhere. He's a very versatile player. We have Aiden Morris, who's just been one of the best players in MLS this season, period, not just American wise. He already has 4 caps for the team. Timothy Tillman, who's been really good for LAFC at times. Jack McGlynn, good young Philly guy. Josh Atenzio, another good young Seattle guy. And Azeel Jackson, who's another really interesting one. He's another guy who could play multiple different positions and has had some really hot moments this season. What are your guys' thoughts on these midfielders as a whole?
I think you in the as the midfield, I think you already two of them are kind of penciled in. Aiden Morris, of course, he's been phenomenal in MLS. So I don't think no one. I think we'll be surprised that he'll be benched for this game. I think he'll be your center, your fundamental piece in the midfield. Mm-hmm. And other than that, Jack McGlynn has been always phenomenal with Philly. No matter what position he offers a good range in his. I think the only question it will be just the third midfielder spot if we're going to go 4-3-3. And I think the one that fits kind of with experience and everything will be Tillman, but he sometimes he gets lost. He gets lost in transition in games. He goes games missing in most of the games. But other than that, I think that would be your three midfielder if you're going for a 4-3-3.
So
Tillman is
you had
Tillman is
Morris,
German,
Tillman, and
man.
McGlynn. Tillman is German, that's true, but his brother is so
Yeah,
good
I
that
know.
we could get over that a bit.
For sure.
Yeah, so Rudy, who do you got as your midfield?
Yeah, no, I honestly, I'm gonna second a lot of what Manny said. I think Aiden Morris is, top dog at 22 years old, and I'm excited to see McGlynn. The Philadelphia Union, academy just pumps so many good players. McGlynn, um, I straight out of the back of my head, I can't think how great of a season he had this year. But he's done fantastic when I've seen him play, obviously scoring a couple free kicks and stuff like that. So it's something that we don't really see out of the midfield in the U.S. national team. So exciting to see kind of what he can do at 20 years old. I think he's one of the youngest guy, if not the youngest guy, being called up. But Atencio too, a guy, Seattle Sounders is difficult to break into that midfield, and he got plenty of games. I think over 20 matches he appeared in 2023. So, it'd be good to see kind of what he can provide. Seattle's another place that we don't really talk about, but their academy does provide a lot of good players out of that. Them and Tacoma Defiance, they do a hell of a job, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on that Jack McGlynn take. I think he really does provide a little something extra that some other players on this team don't provide because he is could be a bit of a focal point when it comes to the passing game of a team. I mean, he comes very close in leading the team in passes per 90 for Philly. He's leading the team in progressive passes per 90. He's an excellent passer of the ball. And I think him and Aiden Morris in a little pivot midfield in front of a 5-back would be so good for this game.
I agree, man. Aiden Morris is just a cleaner, man. He does everything so well, whether it be
Mm-hmm.
attacking, whether it be box to box, whether it be purely defending. He's done well of learning from Nagby.
Oh, for sure. I think one of the most impressive things I've ever seen from a young kid in MLS was when Morris came in and stepped in for Nagby in an MLS Cup final and just bossed the entire midfield like that. It was crazy. Dude is such a gem of a player, and coming off
You're
that
talking about those
injury,
COVID days, man. I can barely
yeah.
think of COVID days. Yeah, no. Obviously Darlington Nagby was out, and quite a few of the players, I think, because of COVID, if I'm not mistaken, on that final.
Yeah,
And
it was a rough time. But Aiden
and
Morris came up big, won the cup.
he was massive. He was definitely massive, man. But yeah, I think just before we hit the forwards, it's just obviously a lot of young talent here that they could do something, man. Their future is bright, whether it be this Copa America, whether it be this, coming World Cup or the next one. It's a lot of talent coming through the pipelines in MLS.
All right, now we get to the forward line, which I think might be a little bit of a weaker point to this team. So Brian White, that is a guy I am an absolute fan of. I know Dustin is also a gigantic Brian White fan. And, I think that guy needs to be the starter no matter what. That guy needs to just get in the lineup. I think he is a better player overall than Brandon Vasquez, who just got sold for almost $9 million to Mexico. I think that's absolutely ludicrous. But Brian White's never going to get that attention in Vancouver. And alongside him, you got Duncan McGuire, who's the other striker in this lineup, and he's done so well for Orlando City, so well. And alongside him, you got Diego Luna, who's also a little bit of a midfielder as well, creator for RSL. He scored against the Dynamo in the playoffs. He's very good talent. Bernard Kimungo, he's played with Dallas. He had a few hot streaks of scoring some goals for Dallas. He's maybe not the best on the ball, but I think he's a good talent. Cade Cowell, I think, is awful. I'll move on from him. And then Esmir, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Esmir
Hey, you're the
Bajraktarevic.
Polish one here.
Is he
That's
Polish? I don't think he's
no, not
Polish.
Polish, but I was gonna say you're closer than Mexico. That sounds like Serbian or something like that.
Where's this gentleman from? Let's see.
Hmm,
I don't know
Um,
anything about him. Oh, he's from Wisconsin, so
of course, and he moved to Boston area,
yeah.
Foxborough.
So I don't know how to pronounce his name. I am very sorry, Mr. Esmir, but I don't really know too much about him. He's kind of the most unknown player for me on this roster. I haven't seen him play much. I didn't watch a lot of the Revolution this season. I didn't. Their team never really excited me.
I think the only time I watched them was when they played the Dynamo, and like very early on, and that's pretty much
They
it.
killed us. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, no, this lineup. You mentioned Duncan McGuire, Diego
Yes.
Luna? Okay, right, all those guys. So yeah, you're right. I mean, I think you look at this striker group or forward group, and really, there's not a striker like a number nine, like somebody that's gonna put the ball
Brian
away.
White.
Except I was going there. I was going there. I was gonna say except for Brian White, he's the only one. Everybody else is kind of interchangeable, whether it be playing out wide, whether it be just like an attacking midfield type. Um, but yeah, your only center forward is Brian White in this lineup, and a 27-year-old getting his first cap, man, good for him. Because you're right, he's been really good in Vancouver. He was pretty good with the Red Bulls. So him just finally getting a little bit of recognition, which now you look back, that's probably going to be Griffin Dorsey at that point, at 27 years old, man, getting a
Yep.
call up,
Mm-hmm.
But it just how it is, seeing the guys get that opportunity. Some young guys like Kyle already at 20 has, close to or what, 8 caps, 10 caps. So he's the veteran out of the group, which is funny, right? At 20 years old, it looks like Chivas wants him because his mom it's has Mexican origin. That's what the rumor is right now. It's funny. It's funny. It's kind of silly season for sure. Um, but Cowell, he's just speed, man. The guy's just fast. And I don't know if he's really good at, in front of or inside the box, if he can finish. Every time I've seen him play, which is often, seeing that I watch the West Conference on the MLS more often than not, and he just struggles. So, is the potential there? Yes. It's the guy built like a Greek god. Yes. The dude, he looks the part, but can he be an actual player? I'm not sure, but I'm glad that he's getting an opportunity. And other than that, maybe Diego Luna. I mean, he played really good. 20 years old. I don't think no one believes him that, man. He has to be like 32. He just looks like an old 20-year-old, but glad to see, these youngsters again that played well, especially in the playoffs to get an opportunity.
Yeah, I'm a gigantic Diego Luna fan. Huge fan of his. I think
I'm a fan of the actor. So Diego Luna, the actor, so
that's
good,
right.
man.
I really think though of all like maybe of every player on this entire roster, I think Diego Luna might have the highest ceiling. I really do believe in this kid.
Yeah, I think as well. I just want to double down on everyone. I think just out of the forwards, nothing's gonna like, oh, we're gonna score like 3-0, 4-0 a win. It feels like it's hard to see, but I think if you want to look for experience and just the talent, you want to put it in Brian White and Diego Luna and whoever plays, the second striker or the other winger. It's hard to. Most likely it's going to be Brian White, K Cow, and Diego Luna, which is it's not going to be nice. How see all
Mhm.
them combined together. I think separately they're good players. I don't know how that's going to be together, but I foresee. I think I like to see Brian White and also Duncan McGuire. I think coming from USL 2 to Orlando City and having a
He
sort of
had
a
a
break.
fantastic year for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
sort of a breakout season too at the age of I think he was what 22, 21.
Yeah,
Yeah, 22.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's about to be 23 in like a
I
month
mean, he
now.
scored 13 goals. That's
that
really
is
good.
for his first
Yeah,
year coming from
Yeah.
USL 2.
0.84 non-penalty goals per 90.
Yeah, it's crazy. The guy's very talented. He put some really nice goals.
So you never know. You never know who these camps can light up some their careers. But I think if you want bet money, it was going to be Brian White. But I think out of the lineup of things is going to be just hard to see how the US is going to finish their chances on the final third.
All
You
right.
know, I know, what's it called? We just finished talking about the US national team, and this was not supposed to be a Mexico related show, but I just want to share something which I think is funny. So Mexico itself, they did similar to what the US does, obviously non FIFA break, they bring a lot of players from the game Yankees. And I'm looking at the lineup, and it's the opposite, man. They bring so many old players that have like one or zero caps, and it's sad. We're looking at the American one, and it's just like, 19, 20, 21, 22. You're looking at the Mexican one is 32, 32, 31, 29, 29, 28, 27. So it's just depressing. And I know, when next on the coming show we'll talk more about the other national teams and stuff, but it's just crazy, man. The rivalry is there between US and Mexico, and you can tell who's doing it right now.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. USA is really dialed in these January camps. I do see a lot of Twitter people saying that this January camp is a waste, but I very much disagree. I think there's a lot of talent in this team. And there's definitely snubs for sure. For sure, there's snubs, but I do think this is a very good roster that will, I think we'll see a good performance out of a lot of players. I could maybe see them get some look-ins for the senior national team or some lookouts from European scouts to get in moves, especially guys like Luna and McGlynn who probably already have eyes on them, get even more eyes on them, and get those
Mhm.
big moves.
I'm just glad Paxton Comical's not in it, bro. He's like the most overrated US men national team. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
he's not very good, and a lot of those older guys are not on this list. There's no Jordan Morris, there's no Paul Arriola, there's no Roldan, there's no Comical, no Kellen Acosta. Still doesn't even have a club somehow. I have no idea how because he's very good. But it's kind of crazy right now how many of those older players are not on this roster, and I think in a way it's a good thing. I think I probably would have put Jesus Ferreira on this roster for sure, but
Hmm.
Yeah, I agree. Give them a try,
yeah.
especially for how much money. Maybe sometimes when they do a big transfer, they don't for that to for them to kind of acclimate to wherever the hell they're going.
Mhm.
At this point, he's going to Monterey, right? So he ended up getting picked up to Rayados. Is that my
Oh, you
my
talking about
off?
Vasquez?
Yeah, Vasquez. Sorry.
Oh, I was talking about Ferreira.
Oh, my bad.
I wouldn't call Vasquez up.
But
I
see, I
would.
thought Ferreira was injured.
Is he injured?
I
He
thought
might be. He could be. I don't
he
know. You might be right. I'm
yeah.
actually not sure. Yeah,
Okay.
but I mean Vasquez for me, he'd be below Brian White and Duncan McGuire on a depth chart, in my
Yeah.
personal opinion. But
Yeah, and like I said, it mostly for just the idea of like, okay, this guy did apparently really well in the MLS, and he got like a big transfer. Kind of give him the opportunity to see if he's at that level, and if
mhm.
he's not, discard him for life at this point.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Bring
for
him
sure.
later on if that's the case.
Now let's talk snubs though. Like, guy, who's your guys? Who would you say is the biggest snub goalkeeper wise?
Goalkeeper wise,
Mm-hmm.
Steve Clark, man, of
Steve
course.
Clark.
How are you gonna sit there with that many clean sheets? No, I don't know. I,
I think that's a tough one. I think they
yeah.
got the goalkeepers pretty spot on, to be
Yeah,
Yeah,
honest.
I
I
think
think
that's a good list.
if anyone,
Maybe Cohen.
then yeah, Cohen.
Well,
If
Cohen
any,
maybe because obviously he's an older guy, but he's brand new to the MLS. Maybe give him a look. Obviously you have brought him in before. Didn't he was brought in what to the Nations League? I mean
yeah,
to
I
the
think so.
I
I
don't
think
think he made
so.
the cut, but he was brought in that time, I believe.
Hmm.
And I don't know, man. I think that guy's gonna be good at an MLS, but I don't know. I don't know if that's necessarily a
Maybe
snub. I think
Stuber's a stub. Oh, he's a little old, but
yeah, he's older too.
I
he's
would
in his
think
30s, I think.
I think if anyone needed a call up or something, if goalkeeper wise, I think it would have been Zach Steffen. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I like if you're thinking of snubs, I think he would be the only one that would come into mind because coming from injury, still playing and going back to not MLS, I think if anyone who needs game time and confidence, it'll be him. But at this point, I think we'll see how his transition is coming to MLS
Mhm.
back and getting his form into the new season. But
I
other
think it
than
might be best to give Stefan the full time with Colorado to get into preseason. I think that might be
Yeah.
the reason he wasn't called in.
yeah, I believe so.
Now, defender wise, I think the obvious snub is
Zimmerman.
uh,
You didn't like
Zimmerman.
Zimmerman.
I
Zimmerman
Or
is
didn't.
off
Miazga.
I was gonna say Jalen Neal.
Oh,
yeah, Jay Neal. I was about to say
he's good. I like him.
Zimmerman. He's
That's
still on the
he's in
Achilles
Seattle,
injury.
right? Am I making that up?
It's Jalen Neal. He's in LA. He's Galaxy.
LA.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh, yes,
Seattle's
yes. I
Reagan
know
and
who you're talking
Yaymar as the
about.
center backs.
Tall, skinny guy. Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, Neal.
Gotcha.
He's the guy he's the really good. He's kind of your modern day play out of the back center
He's very
back.
good. Didn't he get a call up?
Yeah, he played in
Or
last January camp.
Hmm.
okay.
He
Yeah,
is very talented. And he had a really good season with the Galaxy, despite how bad they were. I
he
think
just
that
he,
one's a little weird. I would have
yeah,
probably brought him into this roster over maybe an Ian Murphy or a Tafari.
yeah. I agree. Still a young guy. Think you like I said, this camp in general is just to kind of get people ready for all the tournaments coming up
Hmm.
and like Manny said, the Olympics, all the other guys are U23 and under type of thing. So
Hmm.
it should be, kind of give them that opportunity, that confidence.
So who is the midfield snub y'all think? I would say Dorsey.
Yeah.
uh,
Dorsey is the defender snub. He's the midfield snub and probably the
the
striker snub,
fourth.
to be
Well, I mean,
honest.
if they do have Sean Zawadski as a midfielder on there, so I guess you can maybe put a Griffin Dorsey in the midfield section. That's what I would say. He's more. I mean, he on the lineup sheet he's a right back, but I mean he's a right midfielder at heart. So
So you're not a Kremiski fan?
Who?
Kromoski.
Kromoski,
Oh,
sorry,
Benjamin
Benjamin
Kamashi.
Kromoski.
Yeah, I think they didn't. I think they probably wouldn't have released him. I think that might have been
No,
what
because
happened because Miami have like a preseason game
Yeah,
like
they
next
they
week.
play El
yeah,
Salvador, I think.
Yeah, they're doing that whole thing in like Saudi Arabia too. So I think they probably didn't release it. That's what my guess would be because Kamashi
Yeah,
definitely should be on this roster.
yeah.
wow,
Yeah, yeah, I can't think of another guy that I would put.
Yeah, I think they got everyone really for the
Yeah.
midfielders,
that,
especially the sixes.
yeah, it's really
Oh,
hard.
Brian Gutierrez definitely should be here. Maybe he's in the middle of a transfer. Who knows? There may be something there with
Mhm.
him because he's been very good for Chicago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's
forwards, who'd be a forward snub for y'all? Hmm.
Hmm. I
Corey
mean,
Barrett.
Corey Barrett, sure. Why
he
not? He just had a good year.
had a hell of a season, man.
All the season for
He
what
he
he's played
scored
with the
one hat
national team.
trick.
Yeah,
Good luck in Cincinnati, by the way, Corey Barrett.
yeah.
He is. I think he's gonna kill it in Cincinnati. I think that's a great move for them. I
I
think he's
mean,
gonna have just as
they
good a
have
year
a
as
real
Vasquez.
10, man. They have somebody that can actually set him up very well. So,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
one thing that Corey Barrett can do is, he can read the lines very well. He
Mm-hmm.
hardly was offside,
They're a high
compared to,
pressing team too. I
yeah.
think him and
So,
Bupenza will make a good
so
partnership.
if they can get the timing right, I could see plenty of assists,
Mm-hmm.
from Acosta to Corey Barrett. So,
Yeah, I think
yeah, it's gonna
so.
be interesting for sure. But what about, is Acosta? Is he ready to play yet or not for the U.S. national team?
Lucho?
Yeah, is he
Lucha.
available yet?
I
Or
have
he's
no
they're still
idea.
waiting a little
I
longer?
think they're still waiting on that. I
I
don't
think I
think
think
he's
it's
official.
I don't know. There's no real
I would like him to.
yeah.
I don't
There's
know.
no
Would he
real.
make? Would you guys think he'd make the senior team, the full senior roster? I don't know.
I
At
think
this
he would
point,
He could. I could see it.
for experience for like
yeah,
the
He can make the
for
World Cup. How old would he be? Like
he'd
32?
be I
two
think something like that. But I think if there's injuries, definitely because you look at the tens in the team, you have Giovanni Reyna and
Pulisic
Malik
maybe.
Tillman right now.
And
Well,
they're not even close to what Acosta can provide, in my opinion, man. I
as it
think
You
as
don't
it
they're
think
just
so?
different. They're different styles. I
I think
think,
Reyna's way better than
I
Acosta.
think
no,
he's
I'm not saying
talent.
that he's better. I'm just saying that they're very different. I think Acosta, like his style play, kind of slowing down the game and breaking the team apart. It's different from what, the I guess the normal, um ability of Geo, which is sometimes just playing more out wide coming in. I mean, he creates as well, but I think just Lucha's it's a true number 10, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah,
more of a pivot, you play him up high with the ball and he can kind of break you apart and find the open man
yeah.
and take shots too.
Costa's definitely he's one of those tens who's kind of like a forward playing the 10 position because of like his shiftiness and his size. He kind of fits back a little deeper, but he's more of a forward type player. I don't know. I think Malik Tillman could kind of provide that same type of thing. I think it's definitely tough because I think both players are producing at a very high level right now between him and
Yeah.
Tillman. I mean, Reyna's obviously he's the guy for the team. We all know that Reyna's
Yeah, for
absurdly
sure.
talented.
For
But
sure.
yeah, for like a backup 10 I think the fact that Tillman is doing it at like a Champions League level right now because he's been playing pretty damn well for in the Champions League for PSV,
Yeah.
and they haven't even dropped points yet this year in the Eredivisie. So that's a good conversation to see where Lucho would fit, and I think he would definitely make some rosters. I don't know if he'd be a every roster every game player though.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, it's one of those that if he could get everything right, I could definitely see him, making that squat for a World Cup. If
Yeah.
if put and again, you're still talking about 2 years from now. There's
Mm-hmm.
can be injuries, there can be a lot of things
Yep.
that can happen. He can take a massive step back. I mean, he's done it in the past, right?
Yeah,
He's
that's true.
he was good with DC 1 or 2 years out of however long he was there. And then he went to Mexico and just completely disappeared. Like he barely did much of anything. But right now, he's living life in Cincinnati being the MVP.
Mm-hmm.
So, if he continues the way he's doing, which to me, he kind of figured it out already. Maybe that is the case, man. Maybe, like you said, there's going to be a conversation as soon as that that naturalization paperwork gets done.
It is gonna be a situation. I wish they would bring Nagby back to the team. That'd be something I'd love to see.
I think Nagby just doesn't want to be in the team, right? That's kind of
Maybe
the
I don't
idea.
know because Nagby. I mean, Nagby
I
still
feel
got
like
it.
he just
Yeah, but
kind of got rid of it.
I don't think he has been called for a while
It's
now.
been since the Trinidad loss. I don't think he's played.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
it's a little bit of that. I think he just didn't want to go back to it, if I'm
Yeah, stinking. I mean,
remember.
he's just a winner. It's everywhere he plays. He
He's
wins
an
games.
interesting guy because he stays to himself, you know. He doesn't really like the attention and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
he's just
And
quiet. Wins games, wins championships, moves
right.
on.
Mhm.
And I think he's just one of those guys that things weren't really great. And he's 33 years old now. Dang, I'm a little older than him. That makes me feel good. Uh, but but yeah, so I mean, he's one of those players that maybe I just wasn't his thing, you know, once it was unsuccessful trying to get into that World Cup, he may be done, you know, with the national team altogether.
Yeah, it stinks.
Never really retired, but God, he's such a good player, man.
All right, let's wrap this up. Let's give our predictions for this upcoming game. Who's
Let me
against? Is
see.
it Serbia? Serbia, right?
Slovenia.
Slovenia, and
Slovenia,
they're playing in San
Slovenia,
Antonio,
San
actually.
San
Antonio,
Antonio.
Interesting.
yes.
All right, let's give our final lineup predictions and
Dang.
score line.
I kind of want to go to that game, man. But you said predictions and what? Starting
Final lineup and our predictions.
starting lineup, I'm gonna stick with what was it? Uh, I'll start Celentano. Is it Celentano?
Yeah, Santana.
And yeah, and then Miles Robinson as your captain. That's him. I guess I'll change it to James Sands, being that he does play more center back as well. Then I'll put Jones on the right back and Tolkien on the left. In the middle, I'll put Aiden Morrison and McGlynn. Well, McGlynn playing more of a. Let me see. I'm gonna do a 4-3-3. That's what I'm gonna base it
Okay.
out of. So Aiden Morris, Atencio, and then McGlynn kind of like on top, and then as my three on the top, I'll probably put a Diego Luna, Brian White, and Kate Cowell, man. I guess at this point, just because
Good
of the
go.
seniority.
All right, and score.
I think, you know, not necessarily know if Slovenia, who exactly they're bringing, is their squad already out? Yeah, it is mostly Slovenian players. Um, so I think the US is gonna end up winning it. I'm gonna just go with a 1-0.
1-0. All right, Manny, what you got?
Okay. Oh, okay. I gotta think of Greg Berhalter. If I was Greg Berhalter, who I would
Okay.
pick? I'll
Hey,
pick the most craziest lineup. So he's gonna pick goalkeeper, Drake Callender, right back, Shaq Moore, Miles Robinson. I won't be surprised if you put Shaq Moore as your captain. That's something what Greg Berhalter will do. Because at this point, James Sands and also John Tolkien on your left. Midfielder, uh, Aiden Morris, Jack McGlynn, and Timmy Tillman. And I'll go with the same forwards as Rudy, K. Cabo, Diego Luna, Brian White. But I think there might be a chance that Duncan McGuire might start over Brian White.
All right.
But I think out of that, I think that's gonna be the lineup that Greg's gonna put. Not maybe we want, but I think that's something he would put.
All right.
And I think it's gonna be a 2-1
2-1.
for you
All
guys.
right. And for me, I got Celentano in net. And then I got left the wing backs. I got John Tolkien and Nathan Harriol. And my three center backs, Miles Robinson, James Sands, and Sean Zawadzki. My midfield, two, Aiden Morris and Jack McGlynn. And then for that attacking lineup, I'll have Diego Luna as a central 10 with Duncan McGuire and Brian White as a striker partnership.
Mhm.
like it, man. And what was your score?
A score. Let's go with I like predicting goals. Let's go 3-2.
I
3-2
like
United
it.
States.
And there's nothing like a non-boring game if there's goals, right?
That's right. I want to see goals. You know, if we're
I
gonna have
mean,
these
it's a
friendlies,
friendly.
it's gotta be fun.
Yeah, it's not gonna be serious competition. We got
That's the
park the
worst when you get
bus.
those friendlies that are like 1-0. Remember that like United States Mexico game? That was like all MLS versus Liga MX teams. It was like a 1-0 game.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
they usually whenever they would come to Houston, they would always tie like 0-0, two
Ah,
two. I was like, to 2-2, okay, that's okay. But there's a couple of like 0-0s, and that's so boring, man.
And when was this? Where is this game at?
San
No, I said
Antonio.
this one's in San
San
Antonio.
Antonio. Y'all should go.
Yeah, I'm actually it sounds interesting. Is that 2 o'clock on the 20th? What is that? A Saturday or
20th
Saturday?
is a Saturday. Yeah,
This is Saturday at 2, yeah.
Actually, dang,
that'd be a good time.
yeah, that actually sounds kind of interesting.
It's gonna be cold that day too.
Yeah, the bad thing, it's like I don't think I'll be able to not think about it, but it would be great because I'm out of town that week and I come back that Friday. But
Okay.
it'd be awesome to go check out. You know, I've only been to like, and I'm talking about U.S. national team, one game, I think. I think that's it.
That's it.
Yeah, yeah, like that it was just for them, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I think I've seen a couple times playing in Gold Cup against, Mexico or something like that.
Hmm.
But U.S. national team, I saw them play Chile. Good old the LeBron James of soccer ends up scoring a goal, and then about a minute or two later he gets out injured. So that's a
Yeah,
postage
that's
story for
bullshit.
you. But no, man, the U.S. national team, it's fun to watch.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially that game. I said with the what are you guys called? The
American
what's
Outlaws.
yeah, the Outlaws. I was American Outlaws. There you go. So yeah, it was fun, man. It was fun. So yeah, this is very tempting being so close by, man. Gotta check them out. Will they sell out? Is that the question? Let's get that too. It's a small stadium. You think they sell it out? I don't.
They sell it out. Ooh, I don't know.
Did they sell out in Austin? Manny, do you remember when they played?
It's sort
Didn't they
of.
play like a couple weeks ago, or not a
Yeah, it
couple?
was, but it was
I thought it was a
Nations
friendly
League.
as well.
Oh, that
No, it
was the
was
one against
Nations
Trinidad, right?
for Nations League for doubleheader.
That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was they had the first leg in Austin and they went to Trinidad for the second
Oh,
leg.
okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
for the qualifier, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they won 3-0. Oh, they filled it up.
They filled it up? Yeah, so maybe
Yeah,
maybe San Antonio will fill
that's
it up. I don't know.
close. Yeah, no, it's actually pretty.
What stadium is that?
Toyota Field.
Toyota
Yeah,
Field.
Toyota Field, the San Antonio, what is it, FC Stadium? It's a little stadium,
Hmm.
under 9,000.
Toyota Field. I don't know that stadium well. Oh, it's only 8,000. Oh, they'll sell
Yeah,
it
it's
out.
little. It's
They'll
little.
sell that out.
Yeah, I could see, I mean, I could see it possibly just because there's not that many. I'm
Yeah,
surprised they
they'll
do
sell
it.
out
They're doing it
8,000.
there and not what is the Alamo?
That
Well,
is a
actually,
weird
they
place
changed
to do it.
the name on it, didn't they?
Yeah.
They did
I have no idea.
the Alamo Dome. I think they changed the name of that venue. Anyways, because I know that they played soccer games there every now and then. Oh no, it's still
Hmm.
there. Alamo Dome, 65,000 on that one. They
Yeah,
definitely wouldn't sell that out.
Nah, not for a friendly against Slovenia.
yeah, definitely not. Yeah, I think 8,000. They could sell that out easy. You might have to get your tickets already if you want to go to that, Rudy.
Yeah, for real. I think it'd be too late to try to get credentials at that point.
Oh, for sure. Be fun though, but hey, it was fun talking about this national team. I still think that really do still think January camp has its place. If just one or two of these guys perform, maybe get another look at from another team, get a good move in the summer, or continue to play well in MLS and make a real impact on the national team, I think it's done its job. And people could hate on it all they want. I would rather have it than not have it at this point. So I think that's that with it. What are you guys' final thoughts?
Yeah, man, good stuff. Looking forward to more crossing soccer borders. Obviously, you hosting it and with with Manny. I'm excited to see what you guys do, and we'll set up some visitors, some guests for you to talk to with when it comes to CONCACAF, man.
All right, we're looking forward to
Yeah.
it. Let us know the listeners. Let us know what you guys want us to talk about on here. Stick mostly Concacaf. If we go on a little tirade about Arsenal here and there, it might just happen. But we want to cover the game as a global sport more than just Houston. So get everything involved. Any
I
final
agree.
thoughts, Manny?
I was going to say, yeah, I think crossing borders is going to be good because, we're entering for Houston specific, we're entering a lot of international sports coming through, international soccer coming to Houston, starting this week with, a lot of Gold Cups and Copa America. And then you have, World Cup coming soon within 2 years. Crazy. Within
Yeah.
2 years, it's coming up real quick. And so it's a lot of this is going to, steamroll over here. So, it's going to be a lot of interesting international news and games that people locally is going to watch. So it's
Yeah,
going to be good.
and just to piggyback on that, yeah, you're right, Manny. Obviously, the women's Gold Cup is going to be around the corner, so I expect for you guys to talk about the
Oh, hell
women's
yeah, we will.
soccer when it comes to it, and obviously there's plenty of games in Houston, being that they're a host city.
What's the first game in Houston?
I think it's like February. I think it's on after Valentine's Day.
The thing
After
is, the
Valentine's Day?
20th is February 20th, and I believe it's a double header
Yeah,
Doubleheader.
for
it's
Group C.
all games is double headers. So it's going to be
Yeah,
one
it's
early
Group
Group
game and one
C.
late game.
So I think I'm gonna try to make that game because I think that's the only. Actually, no, I think that's a Friday. It's Friday, then Sunday or something like that, and
Mhm.
maybe I make it to the Sunday game. But
Nice. Yeah. That should be a good
yeah,
time. I'm
Mhm.
excited to watch that. See more of
yeah.
the women's teams. I don't know anything about a lot of these women's
Well,
teams.
especially again, this Gold Cup, it's just brand new. We have never seen it before put this way. We've seen some qualification, tournaments and competitions to get into. Mostly, I guess, the Olympics and the World Cup, but it should be fun, man, just to see kind of what's out there. I think everybody's stepping it up, and like I said, we'll probably see you guys dig deep into the Women's Gold Cup.
Yeah, the more coverage of the women's game, the better. That's what we try to do here at Bio City Soccer. All right, so I'll wrap it up with that. Hope everyone enjoyed listening. Thank you so much for clicking on our podcast and listening to us talk about this. We were the Crossing Soccer Border podcast.
You're
And
gonna have to get used to
yeah, I'll
it
have
for
to get
sure,
used to it.
man.
I'm trying to say the Bio City Soccer podcast. Well, we're part of the Bio City Soccer podcast. And you all have a great night. Thanks for listening.